about 5 days ago, Joe Biden made his hopefully final State of the Union address. And there were so many things wrong with the State of the Union address. I was originally going to make a video, but then, I did make a video, but I didn't like how it came out, so I just decided to scrap it. I don't know if at this point I'm going to make another video, but long story short, it was more of a campaign speech. It talked about more with foreign entanglements, such as with Ukraine, with the war happening in Gaza, Yemen, and yada yada yada, and Donald Trump bad, and the Republicans are the fault, or even my own staff, or honestly, it wasn't. He didn't really talk about his staff this time, but it's the Republicans who are the fault of everything. Oh, and by the way, the economy is doing great, even though we have a lot of shrinkflation. Gee, I wonder why. But the main issue, the main thing that a lot of people are taking away from this is when he mentioned immigration. During his State of the Union speech, Marjorie Taylor Greene interrupted him and made sure that Laken Riley, who was a 22-year-old woman who was killed by a Venezuelan illegal alien in Athens, Georgia, she made sure that her name was reached, so that way Joe Biden had to talk about it. And so he went off script and talked about Laken Riley, and yet he mispronounced her name as Lincoln Riley. Then again, with Joe Biden's scrambled brain, it honestly probably wouldn't have made a difference. And he said, he mentioned the fact that she was killed by an illegal alien. But then he also says, but how many thousands of Americans are killed every single year by illegal immigrants? Like it seemed as though that he was minimalizing Laken Riley's own murder and just treating it as if it's a small thing, nothing to worry about. And then came Sunday, when he was interviewed about his comments on the State of the Union, specifically at that very point. And he mentioned that, the interviewer, I forgot his name, mentioned that he's called the person an illegal alien. Or, well, more accurately, an illegal alien, or not alien, illegal immigrant. He said illegal immigrant in his speech. I'm going to call him an illegal alien, regardless of that. But the interviewer asked Joe Biden if he thought he shouldn't have said that. And he said, I shouldn't have said that. He is an undocumented immigrant, and these people have built this country, yada, yada, yada. And holy crap, the amount of not giving a damn from Joe Biden, it's so astounding. This is probably one of the worst PR moves that Joe Biden has ever had. And this is saying something, because he screwed up with Afghanistan. He's screwing up with Ukraine. He screwed up with, I think, on both sides of the issue, everyone can agree, he screwed up with Israel. He has screwed up with the economy, with shrinkflation, with inflation, the supply chain, East Palestine, Maui, don't forget them, and finally Laken Riley, where he just disregards not only disregards her murder and rape, by the way, by an illegal alien. He decides, instead of apologizing because he got the name wrong, he apologized for calling an illegal immigrant and says he's a documented immigrant and we should treat these people with respect. I really hope to God that Sticks, Hicks, and Hammer, when he made his video specifically on this issue, was right. That it tanks Joe Biden's re-election campaign. He's definitely in it to win it. I don't think it's clear. I kind of knew that this was going to be the case, even though that a lot of people, including a lot of Democrats, would have wished that Joe Biden would be switched out. But Joe Biden, especially considering his mental state, is very stubborn and insecure, especially with the fact that Donald Trump is running against him again. And if Donald Trump wins, or and if especially if election, if the ballot printers go burst sort of situation, even if he wins in that regard, Joe Biden's legacy is just tarnished. But already, especially with especially with just this interview, how he cared more about the illegal immigrant that committed rape and murder against Laken Riley. It has pissed off a lot of people. I mean, I don't understand what he gains except for virtue signaling points, which are completely worthless, especially in the political field, or more specifically, an election year. Because one of the main issues that is currently brought up is in immigration. Originally, it was just with the states of California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. And don't get me wrong, it remained a big issue in the past. But a lot of people thought, oh, those states will handle it. It's not going to be a problem for us. Meanwhile, now that illegal immigrants are being bussed around or even flown at the expense of our taxpayer dollars by the U.S. government, well, you can see that this entire problem is now everybody's problem. At least everybody should have known it was going to be their problem. But then again, there was that mentality of thinking that it was the border states' problem. Again, it's ridiculous. But Joe Biden's comments is not going to win him favors to anyone who is concerned with illegal immigration. In fact, it's going to turn a lot of people off. Hell, I am willing to argue that by this statement, he's lost Georgia. A state that according to many pollsters, is considered a battleground state. He lost Georgia, which is worth 16 electoral votes. He lost Georgia, a state that supposedly he won against Donald Trump in 2020. All because he cared more about the murderer, about the illegal immigrant, instead of Laken Riley. And all this for virtue signaling points. All this because of some ridiculous outrage as a result of calling him what he is, an illegal immigrant. I'm pretty sure that just with this one comment, he's lost the state of Georgia. I mean, to be fair, polls were already showing Donald Trump ahead by 7 or 8 points. But, after this, I think it's completely done. It's definitely going to look off as not a big concern for Joe Biden, not going to give a thought whatsoever. I mean, after all, this is the same guy who hasn't gone to the border until Donald Trump went to Eagles Pass. He decided to go to Brownsville, and I think that was about 2 weeks ago. The optics of this guy are horrible. It looks as though that Joe Biden's major enemy, especially in terms of trying to get reelected, are himself and his own staff. Because I don't know who else is making the shots. All I do know is, never underestimate Joe Biden's ability to fuck things up, as Obama put it. But I would also like to add a little bit to that quote. Never underestimate Joe Biden's ability to fuck things up, and to not care about anyone else but himself. My name is Noami, and on the Arc Truth. Please post your comments down below, like this video, subscribe, and share with friends. Also, if you have any issues regarding my videos, such as how I speak, or any improvements I should make, please post it in the comment section down below, or directly message me. Thank you.
almost heaven.